Hello, my name is Thomas Decker, and this is my video assignment talking about different technologies and how I want to integrate them, because we'll get to how bad that is right now. So the first one, the one that I'm most intrigued by, is called Educational Voice Thread. Is a platform where students develop critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity skills. When I first saw this, I thought it was absurd. But the more I looked at it, the more I enjoyed the idea of it. One of the things that I have struggled the most with, and I am an ELA teacher for all 4 grades in English, high school, and I have a lot of students who are not interested in writing. Well, here's the thing. I need to teach my kids how to write. However, I also need to teach them how to think critically, how to analyze speech patterns, thought processes, egos, logos, pathos, the whole 9 yards. I have a very large range of things that I need to cover. Writing is one of them. And so this particular item gives me the ability to realistically offer another way of interacting with language that might be able to draw people in further and further into English as a topic and English as a method, where they are capable of using the language to its greatest benefit to themselves, while at the same time being able to protect themselves from the wiles of people that might go and use it otherwise. It also answers a question of how I was going to make next year work. And that is because one of my students, because of a massive scheduling conflict, will not be able to be in the class that she needs to be in. Well, I have every English student in the high school that's taking English. I have every one of them. So it's not a matter of can she take a class, it's can she sit in on the wrong class. And so there was going to need to be a lot of online resource management on my end to make sure that she has the materials that she needs. This is fantastic for that. It allows a lot of material to be converted. I'm giving an online digital presentation. They have the ability to annotate and doodle, to talk to each other, the full commentary operation, interactive video commentating, the whole 9 yards really does seem to be there, and I am very intrigued by this and kind of look forward to taking advantage of it in the next year especially. Poll everywhere. Any teacher that asks a question needs to have some sort of quick, fast digital thing that allows for the students to be a part of quickly. And the ability to be like, okay, take out your phones and type this in and answer the question. And we're going to show exactly what people think anonymously. Could be massive to the overall process of really allowing the students to take advantage of their own planning. Using PowerPoint, enable live polls directly in my PowerPoint. That would be huge for me as a teacher. Text walls. You can display responses to an open response poll as a live text wall that shows responses chronologically. Response segmentation, school-wide events, you name it. It really does make sense to have something like this. Now, with Google Classroom and Google Polls and Google Google Quiz, Google Life at this point. You have some of that opportunity already, but the live action aspect isn't really integrated with that. Whereas this could really swing that to your advantage. And my school has a massive issue with budget. But $50 a year, I can convince them of $50 a year. Multimedia posters. This is just fun. I've wanted to make posters with the kids like, okay, George and Lenny, Mice and Men, make me a poster. What is some of the big stuff that you see? It's a fun way to make stuff that you get to put up around the school. It looks professional. It looks intelligent. It looks well done. And that's the key. If you give a student who isn't really involved in the material a chance to look like they are good at what they do, they get more involved with the material. And that's just good. That's good science. That's good math. It makes sense. And I mean, come on. Who doesn't love to doodle occasionally? If I can keep them on track by giving them something that they can then produce something of quality, why not? Let's have some fun. Video Maker, one of the things that I find most intriguing right now is I have been working on technical writing with my seniors. And I want to give them a chance to make their own commercial. And I want them to use all of the persuasive talents they've been developing over the last several years. After giving them time, I want them to turn in a video. I want them to turn in a script. And I want them to validate why they believe these persuasive techniques go with this certain type of product or issue or whatever it is that they are going to focus on. Video Maker is a smart way to integrate and use that to their advantage. And the share and impress is one of the most important aspects that I can find. Because if you can both work on something on more than one computer, it just makes sense. So, yeah, I love this idea, and I love the ability to make a movie, which is, a novel told with pictures and audio instead of words. It makes sense to me. Honorable mention as blogger. At the beginning of the year, if I had, had time, because, I don't have a life right now, is I would have had some sort of English blog up and running where I could post some of my favorite homework assignments and things like that. One of the things that I like about this idea, though, is you give them ownership of a blog. And what if it starts earning money and they can use their information to make this? It's not a hard sell to tell a kid who wants to buy a new car that every dollar counts, And if they have something that I don't think that you can become a professional blogger in high school. That would be a very difficult thing to swing. However, if you're making $50 a month on it, or anything along those lines, and those are not very high numbers, why not? And so there's an automatic engagement because there's this feeling of, I can understand this, I can now use what I'm learning to my advantage, and there's a chance of gross profit for me. And it's the Google AdSense stuff. I have a few girls that would love to do a craft thing. I have a few bakers in my classes. I have a few cooks. It would be a fascinating item to use. And so I'm intrigued by this. I don't know if this is something that I will use, but I love the idea of it. And so to round out my little presentation is, do I think it maximizes student learning to include technology? Yeah, that seems really obvious to me. It seems very obvious that a student that is well acquainted with various tools in a digital form will be capable of applying knowledge in multiple ways across multiple genres. Whether it is one they are familiar with or not, they're like, oh, it's like this, or it's not like this. Maybe I need to learn something new, but now it's not daunting. They have a jumping off point. They have something they can chew on, so to speak. And my use of technology is woeful at this point. It is a reason to cry. I am not good at integrating technology this last year. Part of that is the fact that it's my first year, and I have 4 different preps for 4 completely different classes. Some of those classes have more than 1 hour of them, so then I have those additional preps, just because Lord knows you can't keep them all in the same place at the same time, because that would make sense. So I've relied very heavily on the old school handout turn-in model, and I don't like it. I think it is obtuse. I think that it is outdated, and I think that the kids don't respond to it very well. And so I've attempted to broach better integration. I just don't have the time to master it. Now, hopefully over the summer, I'm able to use that time better. Lord knows I need it. So, I hope that answers all of your questions. If it doesn't, please give me an email at tdecker@quinterschools.org. I can't guarantee it'll be the same day, but I can guarantee I'll get back to you. Thank you very much, and have